Okay, everyone. Um, I'm going for my morning walk, and I thought I record something. Um, it's a very, I guess, quick insight, but I'll see what I can say about it. And of course, I forgot to begin with. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, all praise due to the Lord of the worlds. So, I wanted to speak about self-love. I wanted to speak about it in from an angle and perspective, I guess, that it's become real to me. First of all, it's been since August 1st that I've managed to, I was saying it playfully in another episode, I managed to declare war on myself and get rid of like a smoking habit that was there for a long time, aside from, for example, not eating sugar, coffee. That was honestly very hard to put away. But pretty much anything that I noticed that I have accepted from the cultural program that has actually been engineered to imbalance the population hormonally. Okay, to imbalance the person. And honestly, this idea, this insight, it was brewing since last night, where I go on walks in the morning and in the evenings. Plus, I managed to also lose weight. So these are, let me tell you why I'm sharing these things with you. Before how I'm experiencing life now, I remember that many people would say, while I was still in my addictions and everything, people would say, you got to love yourself, right? And I thought about it, and I think when you tell someone you got to love yourself, they have the feeling like, oh man, I got to, attend to my desires, right? That means people think loving themselves is feeling good, right? I think that is not the case. And this is where there's a lot of confusion. I think sometimes a person cannot, they do not know what version of themselves they're loving. So what does this mean? It means when I was, let's call it in the fray. When I was in the fray, I had this impression that to love myself meant, in some sense, you gotta give in to your desires, and that's what it meant. Kind of like, I'm pretty much telling you, I realized that the self that we're trying to love it can be destroying the person. I realized that the cultural program is weird. I realized that the first battle, the most important, I shouldn't say most, but the most initial battle, right, as a soul on this earth, is with one's self to some degree. You see, when you look at life, there's three angles, okay? There's more than three angles, but let's say there's four views, okay? One view is yourself. Okay, here, I'll just start the explanation like this. Let's say there is okay, a human being is born, right? They open their eyes, they notice that their attention can go on their self, it can go on others, or the world. These three angles. Now, if you think about it, yourself can be your friend, can be your enemy. Others can be your friend and can be your enemy. Even in certain cases, the world can be your friend or can be your enemy, right? But from a perspective, at least the path I'm walking, and pretty much I want to share this idea that anything in the world, there's possible anything that has form in the world. There's the possibility of having a relationship with it, whether good or bad. But to consider that there is a system administrator outside of the world, outside of a sort of simulation we're in, this simulation being weaved out of this positions of self, other, and world, I'm pretty much saying all those people trying to love themselves in the world don't realize it's like they're trying to love a hologram, a simulation, right? And not that it's wrong or right, but it's just that I just want to tell people, don't have this idea that self-love means you're getting what you want. Sometimes you gotta notice. This was one of the biggest realizations. One of the major ideas that helped me quit everything was this notion that how the hell am I acting like I love myself when I'm smoking this many cigarettes a day, when I'm eating all this stuff, I'm sleeping late and kind of like, subconsciously destroying myself and then being like, yo, man, I'm a loving person. It's like, wait a minute, I haven't even loved myself because I'm letting myself destroy myself. See? So this is important. This is important to keep in mind. You got to be careful. There's one thing from an Islamic angle that was very profound for me. That it said, sometimes your soul or your nafs, your ego, could be against you, and you're thinking, yo, man, I'm the ego. That means, like, imagine there's an enemy, attacking you, and you're identifying as the enemy that's attacking you, so you're not doing anything about it. Do you understand? So what I'm telling you is that I realized, wait a minute, there's a battle here to go through. Okay, but the first battle is with yourself, with the assumptions you have on yourself that are not accurate, or with the way you're ignoring how yourself is even destroying you. Now, of course, some people, maybe they've won these personal battles. Maybe the way they've been raised or the way they've been programmed allows them to win these battles, but not everybody. Okay, and you gotta watch out. You gotta be able to, just like the eagle on the branch, and the eagle can fly into the sky and get the whole view of the forest, you gotta be able to view yourself, okay, and see that there's a limitation, right? Like, there may be a chance that you're against yourself and you don't realize it because it's a misassociation of identity. So, I realized that, all right, this is something they don't tell you in all the movies you see, in everything you see. They don't show you that you're your enemy. You could be your own enemy. There's a battle. There's an internal battle going on. It has to do with the ability to notice what is better out of the convictions of the past, which were worse. All right, guys, this is Toronto, Canada, by the way. So, what I'm telling you is this. Self-love doesn't mean your desires are being satisfied. You got to be cautious, you got to look at in my opinion, I think self-love is a series of battles, at least for now. I have the view. You're battling yourself out of love for truth. Personally, my truth is, I can't even say my truth, but I consider the truth is beyond this world. I consider the uncaused caused causality. I consider that just like we see how many positions there are in existence, how many elevations, how many angles, right? I also consider that there's a hierarchy of greatness in this realm. And I find that at least the path I'm walking is, I think I'm getting close to winning 1/3 of the battle, which is to, in some sense, notice the ignorance within myself, and then in some sense act accordingly. Similarly, the next phase would be to notice the ignorance in others, in the community that I'm in, not just community, but in just the totality of the human species, the sense of other, and in some sense act accordingly. And then to realize the ignorance in the world and act accordingly, right? There is something going on here that surpasses linear rationality, because the whole thing can be witnessed as a simultaneous event. You see, our linearized rationality is limited to the event that we are conscious of. But if this one event that we think we're conscious of, and this is it, is simultaneously taking place within a massive system, as if there's a gigantic event where our event of consciousness is like on the shoulder of that gigantic event, then in some sense, man cannot be certain, but he can be as certain as he closes his eyes or boxes himself in. So, what I want to tell you is that do not get convinced by those who tell you self-love is feeling good. Okay, you gotta sometimes realize you might be living against yourself. And just because the culture was doing it, you're doing it too. Many people have gone to their, or I should say many, but for example, in Islam, we have the example of Abraham. He went to his forefathers and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And so that's the point. And let me tell you guys, when I was smoking in those 10 years, and I was unhealthy, I thought there was nothing, like I thought there was nothing else. I thought there was no other way. I thought that if I quit everything and become sober, I'm gonna go insane out of boredom and everything. So what I'm trying to say is that I couldn't understand it then, but now I realize what I was missing. So sometimes you might be too busy loving yourself, the self that is desire bound, that is getting convinced by its desires easily, like giving like cake to like a, you know, to like somebody who's like obese, you know what I mean? Like, what I mean, I used to be fat, guys. I'm not making fun of it as if I haven't been through it. But I think true willpower comes when the individual realizes what is the correct action to do, what is the correct thing to do. And yeah, I just wanted to finish off by saying that self-love is not a desire feeding frenzy. Self-love is actually becoming your own ally, actually caring for all the positions that you're holding in your realm. And for me, I have this stance that I am not the most important thing in this reality. God is. Why? Because it's God's game. It's the system, admin system. We're members and there's even moderators. We're not even moderators, So existence has, like, the way we're here right now in this world, there's a role to play, right? But to notice the system admin is important. There is a system admin here. It is not shape bound. It's not shaped. Pretty much the question has to be asked, what version of you are you satisfied with? What are you being convinced by? And why are you being convinced that way? And for me, the greatest thing that happened was to go to war with my own ego that was so convinced, that was preventing me from seeing or doing the right action because it had to be right all the time. What is that shit? How can a human being be right all the time? Let's say somebody has 100% confidence in every moment. That's nonsense, right? Because you don't have information. The confidence is based on the accuracy of the information, right? Unless it's some oblivious bulldozer way of going about it. But I'm telling you, sometimes to love yourself means you gotta kind of hate your ego. You gotta just be noticed from a neutral perspective that you're some forcing who's living against yourself, and that's nonsense. Go to war with that, Anyways, guys, thank you for listening, and have a good day. I'll end it here. Thank you for listening. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. There is a truth here. It surpasses form. The ability of members to directly contact the system admin and bypass the moderators is an incredible view. Thank you for listening, guys. And take care. Have a great day.